Yeah, I'm ready. This is based on the poem Clancy of the Overflow.
Ah.
Everyone know that one?
Yeah.
And it's called Frank of Sydney.
Ah.
See if I can get through it without crying. I did yesterday. Just had a few tears right at the end. I had written his relatives a letter, which I had, for want of better knowledge, sent to where my mother met him in Sydney years ago. He was young when she knew him, and she didn't think she'd lose him. So I sent the letter to them, from the Sydney White Pages, addressed as follows: G. Lane Mullins, D. Lane Mullins. And an answer came directed in a writing unexpected. It was from the family as a whole. 'Twas his eldest brother who wrote it, and verbatim I will quote it. This is a shock. We're not sure who you are. In my wild erratic fancy, visions come to me of Frank, getting married, making a home, having children where the Sydney siders are. As the kids grow up, Frank plays with them singing and guides them on their way. Never in my wild erratic fancy would he have left his wife and children early. Deep soul, true father and husband. My idealised Frank didn't leave. He stayed somewhere where he was needed. But at last he lit a candle in case those around him might curse the darkness when he'd gone. At the end, his family would meet him and their kindly voices greet him in a murmuring surreal daze and the harbour on its bars. And he saw the vision splendid of the sunlit water extended, and at night the wondrous glory of Sydney's everlasting stars. I am sleeping in my cosy Melbourne flat, where a warm ray of sunlight surprises me awake between the row of pines next door, and the fresh air and promise of the gutsy, artsy city through the open window floating spreads its delight over all. And in my free and single space, I considered George Lane Mullins' words, urging me to test my DNA. The language was inviting, and the prospect quite exciting, of knowing something for sure either way. My uncles, brothers and me sent little parcels of saliva to a lab, and the numbers were really good. The report read, "It is confirmed with 99.9% certainty that you are a direct relative." Menus were found, lists were made, the party was arranged. In party daylight at Carmel and Steve's one day, the Lane Mullins folks leapt up and out of the White Pages. G was for George and D was for David, uncles fair and square. But then C was for Carmel, A was for Annie, and C was also for Claire. N was for Nita, B was for Brendan, and A was also for Adrian. D was also for Dennis, T was for Terry, and finally F was for Frank. And that was just the beginning. There were the kids and their kids. Lots of people hugged me. Some even saw my father in my face as they shouldered one another to make their beautiful open embrace with their familiar eyes and speedy want to bring me to the fold. They showed me that there was no time to waste. I used to rather fancy that I'd like to obtain some photos of Frank. Instead, I obtained a family, and now I am blessed as the seasons come and go. Like this first Christmas with Carmel, Steve, Mitzi, Adam and Miranda. And now I somehow fancy that I'd never change a thing.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's beautiful.
said.
Thank you to
Very
everyone.
well.